Okay, let's get our pop sim together. So we need somewhere for it to come from. So I'm going to grab a circle, something to spawn our points, right? We can template that. So we want the circle on the floor. So we want the ZX plane. And maybe a bit bigger like that. So we get bits kind of getting sucked in and up the line, right? So we need a pop network. These are going to the first input. You can see we got points there already. And this will go into my second input. And we'll see how to use that in a moment. So if we dive inside now, we'll get points being scattered on every frame, but not much going on. Let's get rid of that. So to get them to follow along that curve, we need the pop curve force. So pop curve force, plug that in. And we need to tell that, so second context geometry, right? First, second. It's a bit confusing. It's a bit confusing because this is input 1, but it can be referred to in encoding in Vex. You'd refer to as 0, 1, 2, 3, but the name is like first, second, third, fourth input, right? So whenever you see that, first, second. So that's second, and then we can see we get this guide. So let's just see what that does by default. So already we're getting something kind of tornado-y. We've got particles moving up and spinning around a line. And you can see here what's going on. So we got the follow scale, which is pushing the points up, right? Maybe if we do these one at a time. I set these to 0. Follow scale will they'll go straight up. Okay, you can see they're not rotating at all. We can do suction scale, which will we'll suck them in towards the center of the point of the line there. You can see. Okay, there's some inertia kind of pulling them away from the actual center, so they're not kind of glued on. Orbit scale will spin them around the line. Turn that on, and that movement will help to push them away from the center, right? You can see now just by turning on this orbit scale, that's kind of overcoming that suction scale and pushing them out a bit. So, all of these forces are a balance among themselves. And then this inherited velocity, I think, yeah, if the curve has a velocity, which it doesn't in our case, so we just, that won't make any difference. You can just double check that. The way I check with attributes if it's doing anything or what it does, give it some really high value. And there you can see that just looks the same, right? Actually, no, it does. It looks different. But it's doing something weird. It's not, We'll just turn it off. Or maybe leave it at the default of 1. Okay, so let's start playing around with these values. So we've also got this max influence radius, so that's the size of the bounds of these forces. So I'm just going to push that out a bit like that. So thinking about this scale, probably want that to be a bit faster. So I want them going up a bit faster. And spinning around faster as well, I would say. Let's push that up. Now let's try 5 maybe. But at the same time, I want some drag on this as well. So let's drop that, and then we'll probably need to adjust the values based on that. Okay, so it's obviously going much slower now. But we could just push the values up. So we push it up to 5. By the way, if you set any of these to minus, that will just push things in the opposite direction. So a minus on the suction scale will just push all the points away. Okay, getting there. Also want to, you can see they're all kind of moving at the same time there. Let's add a pop property. And what we can do with this is vary the mass, right? So they have a different amount of mass. And if you go to this use Vex expression, we got a this thing's set up for you. So we can set up randomization. So you can see we're creating a seed, which is just a set value, and then we've got a random value based on the ID plus the seed. You know, if you want to have more than one of these, it doesn't matter in our case. But you know, the idea for every point to be different. We'll get a value between 0 and 1, and then that value of 0 to 1 is being fit. So the 0 becomes 0.7 and 1 stays at 1. I'm going to push that to be a bit more extreme. So it's 0.5 to 1.5. Okay. So let's see. Cool. So I see some points kind of moving faster, some moving slower. But we'll come back to kind of massage these values again. Maybe let's one more thing node to add. We want to add some noise to this, right? It's all a bit uniform at the moment, not very natural. So pop force, right? Amplitude, just I don't know, push that to 2 for the start. Oh, one thing we do need to, yeah. So this ignore mass, and I think here as well, ignore mass. There we go. So maybe we'll see more variation. If let me just see if turning off. Yeah, I see some points kind of shooting up. Okay, so yeah, this force will. There we go. That's looking more interesting. We've got some points kind of being escaping there, so we'll have to control this a bit. But we're getting there, getting close. Yeah, we'll continue working on that.